take a look at how the markets are performing after that remark by the CBK governor. And we'll start by taking a look at the Forex. If we just might have that on our screen over here, we'll be able to take a look at how the dollar is performing to start with. But what we are seeing right now is that the dollar is trading at about 103 shillings. But also looking at the trends that we are seeing and the numbers fluctuating amid a prolonged electioneering period, we've got financial analyst Steve Biko in studio, who is going to be taking us through, and also Maurice Odwar, who is the investment manager at Saiton Investments, will be joining us from our City Center studio, and they're all going to be breaking matters down for us. But of course, let's just take a look at what the governor now is saying about the economic performance and also what he has to say about the new currencies. And that he says that Kenya is in the process of having a new generation of currencies as required by the Constitution. The move comes in the wake of a 7-day period given to Central Bank by activist Omtata or face legal actions. Last year, Central Bank noted that the change in currency will cost Kenya 18 billion shillings. The deadline to roll out the new currency ends this month, as they had already missed the 2015 deadline.
Yes, we are in the business of having the new generation currency that is consistent with the Constitution. And we will do this in accordance to the Constitution of the country, in accordance to our Central Bank Act, and in accordance to all other laws that govern that whole process. So you have that on record.
Let's take a look at the markets now, let you know how currencies are performing. If you take a look at the dollar, or the Kenya shilling to the dollar, it's buying at 103 shillings and 4 cents and selling at 103 shillings and 24 cents. The Great British Pound is buying at 139 shillings and 73 cents and selling at 140 shillings and 4 cents. We also have the euro that is buying at 123 shillings and 18 cents and selling at 123 shillings and 45 cents. And now we'll take a look at how the stock markets are performing as well, so we can give you an update before we can cross over to Steve Biko. Now, the turnover of the NSE, that was as of yesterday, we looked at a turnover of 202 million, and then the shares traded stood at about 8.4 million. The NSE 20 share index, quite stable here at 3,780.61, and the bonds traded stood at 738 million. Let's now take a look at the most active stocks. As of 2:30 p.m. this afternoon, Safaricom was topping the counters at 5.12 million shares. KCB Group was at about 1.94 million, and Kenokobil at 1.32 million, while Kengen was coming fourth on the counters at 1.2 million shares traded. Let's look at the winning stocks here. Deacon's East Africa, with a share trading at 4 shillings and 50 cents, went up 8.43%. Eveready East Africa, with a share trading at 2 shillings and 50 cents. We see it going up 6.38%. Mumia's Sugar, despite it all, he had a share trading at 1 shilling and 10 cents, and it went up about 4.76%. Safaricom here in fourth place, with a share trading at 25 shillings and 25 cents, went up 4.12%. This is rather unusual for Safaricom. They're usually topping the counters on a daily basis. The losing stocks here, we have National Bank of Kenya, with a share trading at 10 shillings, went down 8.68%. Express Kenya, with a share trading at 3 shillings and 30 cents, went down 8.33%. And TPS East Africa, or the Serena Group of Companies, with a share trading at 26 shillings and 50 cents, went down 4.50%. Bamburi Cement, with a share trading at 180 shillings, went down 4.26%. Now, we've got Steve Biko with us in studio. Steve, what exactly do you think is happening? Safaricom's shares, quite most expensive, but you can't actually say they are the biggest winners of the day, despite the fact that we have seen them among the most active stocks today.
Basically, the stock market is actually reduced to a bare minimum.
Yeah.
We normally push to up to $1 billion in terms of turnover on a day-to-day basis, but we're now doing between 350 to 400 million.
Yeah.
This is attributing to, especially what's happened in the political world. local investors are a bit reluctant to be able to get into the market because they're not so sure what's happening. We're seeing a lot of foreign participation, especially taking long-term positions. But everything has grind to a bare minimum because everyone is waiting to see what's the way forward. But also, for Safaricom, for example, other external factors are affecting its performance. We're looking at how the telecom markets are actually doing. We've seen Telecom Kenya's rebranded. We've seen news coming in from Africa on Airtel. So for me, I think the dominant aspect of Safaricom is going to be challenged, especially on the stock market, because at the moment also, given that it's reached its peak, I mean, at 25 shillings per share, right now, it's reaching a level up, but it's getting to a plateau level where now it's a bit stable, and we're going to see reduced activity on the counter.
All right. And speaking of reduced activity on the counter, we've seen, you know, all this turbulence going on within the markets. Mumias Sugar has gone through quite some turbulent times. You know, you can talk about Kenya Airways in the last year as well. You can talk about, well, there's Nakumatt, you know, that at some point wanted to trade, but then something happened. You know, it's really been going through, or can we say Kenyan brands have been going through quite a bit of turbulence. What can we say is ailing our local brands? Why are they not performing well? Is it that they have got poor corporate governance? What exactly is happening?
I think first and foremost, we need to understand that the Kenyan economy is actually not really doing well as we might want to believe. The macroeconomic indicators are not really well because one, we've seen key aspects of the economy, agriculture, manufacturing, tourism, actually take a dip. And these three aspects actually what hold the economy together. We've seen construction, real estate, and service actually grow. And these are subsectors that depend on the core sectors of the economy, like agriculture and manufacturing. So for me, one of the key issues is the poor performance of the economy, but also the element of corporate governance, mismanagement of the farms. For example, when you look at Nakumatt, we're looking at several issues, corporate governance, mismanagement, fast expansion. I mean, they expanded too fast. Poor management of the credit supply issue, poor management of the supplier relationships.
Right.
So those four key issues I've seen the Nakumatt brand take a dip. But also, I mean, at the end of the day, when we're looking at how they're able to expand too fast, and the fact that manufacturing, tourism, and agriculture are not doing so well, and we see that retail and agriculture go hand in hand.
Right.
So on one hand is the macroeconomic activity of the economy, on the other hand is the aspect of the corporate governance. And this is a big challenge because now Capital Markets Authority, the Nairobi Stock Exchange, Treasury are actually to be held responsible for the element of the corporate governance of these companies. For example, now Kenya Airways, Mumias. I mean, I bought Mumias at 48 shillings per share. Now
Right.
it's at 1 shilling and 10 cents. So it's really painful when you look at the corporate aspect of what's really happening to our key brands.
All right, we're going to get more into that conversation about the rise and fall of our local Kenyan brands, but as we